So, boy. Now, you guys may have heard about this already, but it's time to talk about it because a lot of things have been happening even up to this very moment. So, at the British Academy Film Awards in London, something crazy happened. Someone that had Tourette syndrome was in the crowd, and they dropped the N-word, hard R. It was wild as hell. So, many people, including me, was like, "Okay, all right, I get you got Tourette's." But dang, that's in your vocabulary. That's wild. That's wild. But a lot of people share my sentiments, especially some huge stars, bro. So we're gonna go over some reactions, also some apologies, not from who y'all think it should be coming from, but nevertheless, some apologies, and also someone that is a popular TikToker that has Tourette syndrome. She will be speaking as well. So hold on tight. Let's get through this video. So I hope y'all heard it already. I'm not playing it again, but Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo was presenting at the London Awards show. Like I said, someone sounded off with a slur, the N-word. All right, this person right here says, "So disgusting. I can't believe they had to stand there and take that. He better issue an apology. Tourette's isn't an excuse to be racist." Host Adam Cumming thanked the audience for their understanding after a series of audible outbursts from Tourette's campaigner John Davison interrupted the ceremony. Davison, the inspiration for BAFTA nominated I Swear, was diagnosed with Tourette's at 25. His symptoms included tics and involuntary outbursts. He says, "You may have noticed some strong language in the background there. This can be part of how Tourette syndrome shows up for some people as the film explores that experience," Cumming told the audience. All right, so Jamie Foxx wasn't having it. He wasn't having it. He was in comment sections all across social media going off. So over here on the Shade Room, he says, F that, he knew what the F he was doing. Why didn't he yell it out when somebody else was on stage? Yeah, bro, I ain't gonna lie. It sounded like his intrusive thoughts got the best of him. I don't know exactly how Tourette's works, but it felt like he was trying to hold it in and it just came out and he couldn't control it. I'm sorry, that's how it sounds to me, and I may be 100% wrong with how Tourette's work. And I have no problem with being wrong and learning. I'm just speaking out loud as we go through this process together. On this blog, Jamie says, "Nah, he meant that shit. Out of all the words you could have said, Tourette's makes you say that?" Yeah, Jamie was on the blog comment section tour letting it be known how he felt. I respect that, my brother. We appreciate that. And that right there is how Jamie Foxx has earned his Snow Bunny passes. We let that boy move along in peace. But some more reactions. They says, "Nah, Tourette's or not, that is inexcusable." Crazy thing is, Tourette's probably wasn't even acting up right then. He was just talking. They got Django over here about to go handle some business. Where's Will Smith when you need him? Nah, that was deliberate. Now it's time to show you how my hands got Tourette syndrome. Getting real punchy. Dude says, "I don't care if it's on sale. I'm not buying it." I like that one. I'm gonna have to steal that, my boy. Slink Johnson says, "If playing in your face was a person." And there's just a lot of people that just ain't having it. They ain't rocking with it. Not during Black History Month, bro. So the guy, he says he's deeply mortified if anyone considers my involuntary tics to be intentional or to carry any meaning, and that he chose to leave early into the ceremony, man. Hey, bruh, you could just say sorry. I understand the frustration that may come with Tourette syndrome. I get it. I can never imagine it truthfully because it is something to be acknowledged that it's something different. But you can say sorry. So speaking of sorry, the BBC did issue an apology. It says, "Some viewers may have heard strong and offensive language during the BAFTA Film Awards. This arose from involuntary verbal tics associated with Tourette syndrome, and as explained during the ceremony, it was not intentional. We apologize that this was not edited out prior to broadcast, and it will now be removed from the version on BBC iPlayer." Okay, I don't know if that'll be enough, but I seen this post right here. It says, "The Tourette's community, after all the progress they've made over the years," yeah, it gotta be tough, man. Gotta be tough. But we have a TikToker. Her name is Shy's Get Ready With Me. Okay, you can follow her on TikTok if you want to support her, but she does have Tourette syndrome and she explains it and she gives reasons as far as how the dude couldn't control what he was saying, and she also has an N-word tic. Peep this real quick.
Ignore how I look right now. Critical attention. I am not feeling too great. However, there is something I have been asked to talk about, and that is going to be the BAFTA situation. I have been seeing a bunch of outrage about it, people saying, "Oh, well, why would that even be in his vocabulary? He did that on purpose," and all of this stuff, and that racism is to excuse. Very sad day for the Tourette syndrome community, especially for the ones that have coprolalia, because when you come online and you see thousands of people hating on your condition, specifically coprolalia, because that's something that is already very embarrassing for all of us. Not going to say that people can't be offended by the fact that somebody said the N-word as a tic. However, it's not something that somebody can control. It's not something that somebody wants to say. And I've been seeing a lot of people be like, well, he said it like when the crowd went silent. That is most likely when a tic is going to happen, when you're in public, when you're in complete silence, or when you're trying not to say or do something. So we must understand what coprolalia is. Coprolalia causes involuntary swearing and inappropriate tics. This can include the N-word, slurs, etc. I am a Black person, and even I have the N-word tic and slurs as tics. This is something I don't see many talk about because of situations like this. Is it a disappointing thing? Shut up! That it happened in public in front of that entire crowd, specifically to Michael B. Jordan and the other presenter. I'm so sorry, I do not know his name. I wish I did, but no disrespect to him. I just am not too aware. Yes, it is a very unfortunate situation. Seeing so many people say that they would invoke violence against people with coprolalia if they can't control their tics. That's ableism. Thing that this happens, yes, but it's something that we can't control. Aggression in the brain being triggered, shut up, and ultimately causing inappropriate tics. Michael B. Jordan and the other presenter have the right to be upset, especially if they were not aware. However, we need to understand and educate ourselves. And on my videos, I constantly see people saying, oh my god, so funny, if I had cursing tics, I would be laughing all the time. But when people actually have cursing tics, then it's offensive and they're a bad person and this and that, the third. We need to do better. We need to educate ourselves better. This is not me saying that people don't have the right to be offended. However, you can't be offended when a disabled person is disabled. I might make a part 2 to this. There's a lot that I need to say, but this is part 2 to my last post about the entire BAFTA situation. I am seeing a ton of people saying, oh my god, during Black History Month, Tourette syndrome is not based on a month. Offensive tics are gonna happen no matter what shut up a person does. I'm Black, oh my goodness, and I also have the N-word as a tic. I have other slurs as tics. Does this mean that I use them regularly? Does this mean that I mean them? Does this mean that I can control what I say? No, it does not. That's not how coprolalia works. That is not how Tourette syndrome works. Quite literally the Sweet Anita situation all over again. Shut up. Where she ended up saying the N-word on stream. She got canceled for it, got called racist, etc. We need to do better. I've seen so many people say that we can control our tics. That's not, if you can control a tic, it's not a tic. Let me explain what a tic is in detail. Shut up, bitch. A tic is when your neurons misfire. You think that you can seriously control a neuron misfiring. I've never seen a human possibly do that. We have got to stop thinking with our feelings and start thinking with logic. It is okay to be offended. Shut up. But what it is not okay to do is be ableist and try to make it seem like people with Tourette's, specifically those with coprolalia, say their tics on purpose. My whole think piece on this, if you are offended, I do deeply apologize, but I'm just being logical here. I see a lot of people giving their think pieces, and they are specifically talking about racism when tics don't correlate with racism. But that's not what causes offensive or obscene tics. What causes those kinds of tics are coprolalia. Coprolalia, shut up, is completely involuntary and does not involve your vocabulary.
Alright, man, it's just one of these things that I think an apology and more information could have helped. It could have helped. I'm doing my part as far as piecing these things together and giving you guys a full scope and letting you go ahead and tell me what you think about a situation. Me personally, I think the initial reaction is valid. It's valid. You know, you could, but I think an explanation is very necessary because it just comes off horrible, man. It comes off horrible. The timing is just like, whoa. Like Jamie Foxx said, why he didn't say that when anyone else was up there? Did he? Did he? All right, so the young lady added this right here, okay? Because she wants to be very clear because people are repurposing her video. She says, currently I can't make a video as I am sick and in pain, but this needs to be addressed. People have begun to use my videos on Twitter as a way to be racist, and this is absolutely unacceptable. I am not anti-black, nor do I or would I ever excuse racism. I explained Tourette's and Corporalio, I think that's how you say it. I'm sorry if I pronounced it wrong. In deep detail, which offended some people, but unfortunately at this point, people will be offended either way. I'm saying people think that I meant that the presenters, Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo, and even the director Ryan Coogler don't deserve apologies. They absolutely do. And I've stated this multiple times. I think the apology should be private, not public. I don't agree with that. The whole situation was purposefully publicized by BAFTA, and that's obvious by now. They clipped out Free Palestine, but not that tick. They 100% knew it would lead to discourse, and that's wrong. Okay, that's interesting. That's interesting. My intent was not to say that black people cannot be offended, but because, as stated in my videos, the community is more than valid. Facts. I feel the same way. She said some more though. Let me let it continue. But we have to also remain logical. The ableism is so painful to view, and so is the racism I'm seeing. Both sides are understood, but there should be no reason why I'm seeing people say that people with Tourette shouldn't be out in public, that we should be separated, or that we should wear muzzles like dogs. We are all human. My point exactly is that we are all equal, and I hate that two communities are being pitted against each other. I'm also autistic, so sometimes it's hard for me to explain things properly. I don't understand social media. I don't understand social cues that well. I was not intending to make anyone feel invalid or dismissed. I just want to help others understand and provide context. I get what she's saying. I ain't gonna lie. I get what she's saying. To continue, says, I will be taking a short break as the situation has begun to take a toll on my mental health. I spoke out because my DMs were flooded with people asking me to, and I felt sick reading the ableist comments. So many people have said that I put my disability over being black, which I don't. I'm always going to be proud of the fact that I am black. Both communities I'm personally a part of are being attacked. Tough position to be in. I'll give her grace, but I do disagree with some things, but I'll give her grace nevertheless, you know. But yeah, that's that though. Hey though, y'all gotta let me know what you gotta say in the comment section below. Me, I'm gonna go ahead and get up out of here though. This is another update with Stace. Yo.